I'm going to focus on two questions. What topics should one by sound on? Alternately, which ones can I dump? I'm going to look at quant and then verbal separately. In an ideal world, you shouldn't have too many topics to dump. It's very important to stay on top of many things now, particularly now where there are multiple sessions of CAT. So the session to session variance is very high. You can get a session in CAT where the dominance of one particular topic is extremely high, and you can find a session where there are 5 questions from inequalities and nothing from geometry, and vice versa. And so at an overall level, we can select important topics much easier, but at a session level it becomes tricky. So the freedom of dumping has shrunk enormously because of this session explosion of having 40 sessions. So keep that in mind. So don't go in with a strategy of just selecting a very few topics. Right? Having said that, we still need to have a hierarchy, still need to have a list of what is important. Probably the most important topics are going to be geometry and number systems. By number systems, I include the basic framework on HCF, LCM, all of that, going on to factors, factorial, how to handle those kind of questions, and going on to a little bit of different bases, a little bit of algebra, a little bit of polynomials thrown in there, everything related to numbers and properties. Right? The third topic, which is probably important, is inequalities. When I say inequalities, I mean inequalities and polynomials, a basic framework of algebra. You cannot leave these. So these three are going to be the critical topics. What is sitting underneath this? What is very important? The ability to solve linear and quadratic equations, think in terms of percentages, think in terms of simple ratios. So the basic topics which lay the framework that you should be really on top of, and these three are the important topics to work on. When it comes to second section, you got to work on having a balance. You need to be good at somewhat comfortable with reading comprehension, somewhat comfortable with logical reasoning. You cannot go into a paper saying I'll not do any RC, nor can you say I will not do any LR. And so you have to have the temperament to say I'll do one of each and then I'll do 2 of this because I'm better at that. But that should be the strategy. You cannot go in saying I'll skip one subsegment completely. In the mixed bag, the most commonly occurring ones are sentence rearrangement, sentence correction, and paragraph completion. These 3 you must get some practice. These 3 you should be looking for and cracking. The one that occurs, has begun occurring, but it's not so easy to do, is sentence elimination. So that can be your optional. Look, I can dump. Right? So that is what I would think in terms of not attempting in the verbal section. Coming back to quant, which topics can I dump? Can I not really focus on? Binomial theorem, clocks, calendars, those are dump worthy. If you don't really like it, trigonometry, because it's sometimes complicated, you can dump that. What else? Races, if you feel it's complicated, you can dump that. You can't dump speed, time, distance, but that one bit on races you can dump. So the bits and bobs, the smaller ideas you can dump, but don't dump a big topic like geometry, because geometry sets the base for coordinate geometry, trigonometry, mensuration. You can get a paper where there are 10 questions from these 4 topics, and then you're killed. Just the pressure will kill you. And so till about August end, try to learn more and more, even in your weakness topics. Start dumping topics and saying, look, I'm never going to touch that. I don't get this. Only in September. End of July, first week of August is too early to say, look, I don't get this. I'll not try that. You still have time to revisit and learn that, so that you have fewer topics to dump and you can make a more sane decision toward the end of your preparation.